Hola Bandidos, ¿cómo estamos? Welcome to Mel's Magic Official. I'm Magic Mel, and this is Owl, my spirit guide. Welcome to episode 18 of season 8. I told you I was going to be more consistent, so getting out of my head and pressing that play button. And that's all it takes, guys. Seriously, we spend so much time up in our heads, and what is called for nowadays is clarity and action. When I went to the coffee shop earlier, I saw the sign on a tea rack and it said, in Espanol, pero bueno, it said, we are responsible for the kind of world we want to create. And you probably asked yourself, why the hell did I talk about my nonsensical pisco sour shadow integration yesterday if there's so much, if there's so many bigger problems in the world? You know why? Two reasons. First of all, we're easily overwhelmed by the big problems in the world. And the tendency is for us to feel insignificant and go back into our powerlessness shadow, which is very comfortable, although we don't like to admit that. The second reason is I want to show you that I'm going through my own process. I'm trying to be aware of my own shadows, of which I have many. There's a big danger in putting people on a pedestal, thinking that someone is better, and again, abdicating our own power, our own responsibility for shining our own light. And of course, there are people out there who might have more experience or more knowledge, but that doesn't mean that they're more valuable than you. That means that your voice is not as valuable as theirs. So I'm not trying to paint a picture perfect here, showing you only the good parts and only the enlightened parts, because essentially, we don't become enlightened by imagining figures of light, but by shedding consciousness on the shadow parts. I'm paraphrasing Carl Jung here. So I'm showing you in my maybe humorous, trivial ways how I look at my own shadow. Because I also realized through what might seem a trivial thing, when I increased my fitness level through sport, I was on this high. And there was this shadow part in me that really tried to pull me down to a more comfortable default baseline energy level. Sometimes we don't fear to fail. We actually fear feeling good, fear being in the light, fear being successful. Because as Erich Fromm said, with more freedom comes more responsibility. Both go hand in hand. With more consciousness comes more freedom of choice, more accountability, more responsibility, because we can no longer shut our eyes and pretend and self-betray and self-deny and deceive ourselves. It just doesn't work like that anymore. So in many ways, it is more comfortable to stay in the shadow, to dim our light. And to treat our shadow as an ally rather than something to demonize, rather than something to repress, that is where power lies. Because I told you, yes, the shadow is our instinctual part, the unconscious part of ourselves, which we, as Carolyn Elliott said in her book, Existential Kink, we might subconsciously, in a sadomasochistic way, even enjoy, although we don't like to admit that to ourselves. Our ego denies that. To become aware of all that is reclaiming our power, because it's only what remains unconscious that has its own will, so to speak. As soon as we become conscious of something, we can choose from a conscious and an enlightened state. Can you hear the crickets outside? You know, it changed here from one day to the next, I swear. From one day, it was still hot, humid, 80% humidity summer, and the next day, boom, a storm came and the temperatures dropped, the humidity dropped. It made me reflect also how life can change in an instant. We can get easily complacent in our routines, in our habitual ways of thinking, being, expecting that the world will stay the same. But especially now, whether we accept it or not, whether we flow with it or not, we are going through a huge transition. And again, it's easy to buy into the stories of Armageddon, of apocalypse, of doomsday, because yes, the 3D is reflecting a lot of chaos, but why is that? There's only new order, a more synthesized, a higher order, if we look at the chaos, if we allow the chaos and what no longer serves us internally and externally in external structures to fall apart. So the disintegration is not a bad part per se, because it allows us to look at things and to put our energy into solutions rather into feeding what is not working anymore, which is obviously not working anymore. And that goes with our internal experiences first. What is happening out there is not separate from what is happening inside of you. Our own psyche, our own soul is deeply connected with the anima mundi, the soul of the world. We're all connected, we're all one. We're all vessels for transmutation. And these lower vibrations are coming up in our personal consciousness, and it's not always easy. You know, we might freak out, we might go through emotional up and downs. That's why it's important to stay centered and grounded and allow for stuff to come up, to allow the shadows to come up, the pain, the trauma, whatever has not been dealt with, so we can finally release it. In this ascension process, we're actually being aided by the environmental energies to transmute trauma, not only from this lifetime, from past lifetimes. And we suffer less when we go with it, when we allow rather than resist. And the allowing process is also more graceful when we come from a consciousness of loving awareness, of not judging. That's why I also spoke to you about my episode yesterday. You know, I was a bit humorous about it because we gotta laugh at ourselves too. That doesn't mean putting a blind eye on the horror that's happening. Quite to the contrary. It's becoming radically aware of everything that's happening, but also taking accountability for our own shit first. I took a few notes. I wrote down a few questions that help me as a human design generator. I need to be asked questions, and since there's nobody here asking me questions, I write down my own questions when I'm confused to find my own clarity. One question that helps me navigate situations. Where will I be happiest long term? Does it turn me on? This is a good question because, you know, sometimes we come into situations where, well, I could still be doing this, but does it really still excite me? Does it really still turn me on? There's a fine line between fear and excitement. If we manage to switch fear into excitement, that is tremendous energy. That's also alchemy and the way we can transmute our shadow into action. Because fear that is not released into action festers and eats us up from the inside and creates anxiety. Free floating anxiety is one of the worst ones, where you don't quite know why you're on edge, but it's because of these deeper, not released fears. So, what turns you on? Quite frankly, let's talk about that. For example, I feel deep down, I secretly got turned on by not having money. Now I'm telling myself, well, how does it feel to actually welcome money into my experience? I want that to turn me on. Use that existential kink. I'm highly fascinated by Thanatos and Eros. We talked about this too. To be or not to be. To create or to destroy. And we have both drives within us. Eros is the love, creation energy. Thanatos is destructive energy. And it's a dance between both of these energies. Can we become aware of them? When are we self-destructive, self-sabotaging? When are we creating misery in our own lives? Can we become aware of that, accept it, and then potentially choose a different path? Does it light me up? It's an obvious question, no? Whatever lights us up, just think about the terminology, to light up. It means you're following something that excites you, that's on a higher vibration. When your eyes shine, that's when you're lit up from the inside. We're no longer lead, walking pieces of lead. We're actually gold in person. Is this my highest excitement? Is there a more fun or easeful way to do it? That goes back to taking ourselves not too seriously. I mean, I tell you, take yourself seriously in terms of your worth, yes, but then don't get all stuck in your head and be hard on yourself and make things hard and think, ooh, things have to be hard. That's old paradigm. We're not used to things being easy, magical, effortless. Effortless goes hand in hand in what lights us up, what comes natural to you. For example, making these videos comes natural to me. It might not come natural to you, but we all have a different strengths. So why not go with our strengths? Why do I need to think that life has to be hard and that things are only worth achieving if there's a lot of struggle behind it to make ourselves be worthy of it? I'm not saying don't be dedicated, devoted, and disciplined, because actually devotion and discipline is an act of self-love, of not giving in to our immediate gratification and of delaying gratification for the long term. Yes, that's self-love. But I'm talking about, is there a lighter way of going about things? A more humorous way that reduces our own suffering in our daily lives? What would feel more me? So whatever you're doing, there is a way that only you do as you. Not being very eloquent here, but what I'm saying is, for example, I'm a coach. There's like a gazillion coaches out there. But what would Magic Mel do? What is Magic Mel's special touch, special frequency, way of going about things, way of sharing her excitement? There's only one me in the world. There's only one you in the world. So how would you do it? That's what will make you stand out. Let's stop trying to be like anybody else. That's like an insult to the universe, because the universe put a lot of effort in making you, precisely with all your weaknesses and all your defaults and faults and whatever you want to call it. You're a beautiful mess. I'm a beautiful mess. I don't even know who I am anymore. I just let things flow. I try to get out of my own way and let things flow. Because usually the voice inside of me that says I'm not good enough, I'm not ready, is my own ego that's just scared of losing its own identity. But we're here to integrate the ego at the service of our higher calling. I talked to you as well about self-love, and that is not to be confused again with narcissism and just thinking about myself. But it does have to do with honoring your needs, your desires, who you are, your preferences, your time, the energy you put out there, the energy you receive. Because it's only when we're well and can embody love and a higher consciousness that we're willing and able to share and give and serve. Because ultimately, the oneness consciousness is also that you are me in the largest scheme of things. So me serving you serves me. Get the picture? Me harming you would be me harming myself. So what lights you up? Is there something that excites you more and that almost feels too good to be true? The universe actually wants to bless us with everything it's got. Love, abundance, money, relationships. But do we let it in? Are we able to receive that? And that's another important thing. The goal is not so much the result, the concrete result per se. It's who we become in the process. That's why people who are not prepared to win the lottery and then lose it again, lose all the money. Why? Because energetically, they're not able to hold it. Their nervous system cannot cope with that kind of abundance. So what we do is we default back to what feels familiar. So a lot of this process is also coming into the light means being strong in yourself and your self-worth, not abdicating your self-worth towards what other people think of you. Because guess what? The more you're going to speak up, the more people might like you or might dislike you, because suddenly you are in the light. Suddenly you're showing yourself. Suddenly more people have somebody to point the finger on. So are you okay? Is your nervous system capable of being disliked, of being objectified even? That's what's important. Can you hold that? Can you validate yourself? Can you put your voice out regardless of what the repercussions may be, or what other people may think of you, or how they may reject you? That's the internal work we're doing here. Is this in alignment with my soul's joy? So for example, yeah, I admit it, I love pisco sours, but I don't know, deep down it doesn't fulfill my soul. My soul is like, banging its head like, oh my God, can we please put our energy into more soulful things? I need you to be energetically here, Magic Mel, to manifest all of these things that you say you want to manifest. But I admit, my ego, my smaller self loves the pisco sours and doesn't care about wasting days energetically. So can I accept both parts, but then choose a more soulful way? That's my responsibility. No one's going to do that for me. Nobody chooses for me. Am I showing up with trust and ease? We can only go after our dreams, A, if we feel worthy enough, and B, if we actually trust that it's possible and that the universe has our back. Otherwise, we'd be like anxiety ridden and wouldn't even start, because the overwhelm, the fear of rejection would be too big to even start. And that's how a lot of dreams not get manifested. And I'm not pointing at anyone, I'm pointing at myself. I have a prayer, I'm going to tell you. A prayer I read out to myself every night, because I'm aware of my own procrastination. Where is it? I have so many things that I tell myself. Because why? Because I like to program my own mind towards success, towards abundance, towards loving kindness. Our consciousness is a garden, and who's the gardener? We ourselves. So what are you allowing to grow in your own garden of consciousness? Is it doubt? Is it fear? Is it self-loathing? Or is it self-respect? Is it self-valuing? Is it kindness? Is it support? It's your responsibility. You are the gardener of your own consciousness. Nobody can do that for you. So my artist's prayer, I read this out to me every day. I forgive myself for any time wasted. The past is the past, and I learned so much from it. I bow to my past, and I thank myself for being here in the present moment. Right here, right now, I choose and act upon my destiny. For time passes anyway. I act upon my dreams every day, consistently. Work is play, I play to create. At the end of each day, I ask myself, did you find joy, and did you bring joy? In peace, I lay my head to rest. We gotta remind ourselves of what truly matters. I'm not immune to this. I have to remind myself. Did you find joy, and did you bring joy in your daily life? Not in the future. Let's come back to the present moment where all our power lies, the eternal now. What else? What other questions? Are you willing to do what it takes for you to create the life you want? And that's something I really had to look soberly into my own reflection. Okay, I say I want these things. Well, are you doing anything about it, Magic Mel? Are you really standing behind what you want to do, or are you being half-assed, half-committed, 1 foot in, 1 foot out? That's split energy. Who do I need to become in order to manifest my desired reality? We spoke about this yesterday. It's about who you are energetically, with your values, with your actions, your thoughts and beliefs. The manifestation is a consequence of who you are. It's not the reverse. We don't manifest and then become something. No, we become something or someone, and then we manifest from that. As within, so without. What qualities and virtues do I need to embody? Have you asked yourself that? Somebody, I think my brother asked me that 4 years ago, and he really shocked me because I never thought about values and virtues and qualities. Well, it is important because we cannot make clear decisions and difficult decisions and choices if we don't know what we truly stand by. What's important for us, our own values, and those are so subjective. Even the notion of success, what does it mean to you personally, success? My success used to be pinned on outside achievements, diplomas, merit, other people's applause. I mean, objectively, I would have judged myself as a complete failure the other week when I had 1.5 euros in my account. But guess what? I am more of a success in my own eyes than I used to be because I embody the values that I actually value. And I don't pin my worth anymore on outside achievements. Yeah, I'll still go after my ambitions and my goals, which was another underlying unconscious aspect of me that was scared to be ambitious again and accomplish something, because in the past I would drive myself too hard. So part of me wanted to protect myself from this overdrive to achievement and perfection. So I understand that part. But I also told that aspect of me, it's okay, we've learned our lesson. We're more in balance now, we're more grounded. We'll go about things differently this time. But let's not dim our light or hide what we have to share with the world out of our own fear of not trusting ourselves, essentially. And guess what lies at the foundation of true success? It's trusting yourself. That is what I would label success. You trusting yourself, your own discernment, your own capacity to decide, your own values, your own self-worth, what you deem important, your own reactions, your own feelings towards people and situations, trusting that. That is success. Do my decisions align with my heart's desires? I mean, that's a big one too, because, again, we might say, well, I want that, and then are we deciding and doing things in alignment with that goal? Or are we saying one thing and doing something completely opposite, which is so human, isn't it? Important one, what am I accepting as true? Because what we deep down accept as true about ourselves defines our self-concept, which then defines our identity, how we go about, how we show up in the world, and what we then create. So if we do not deep down believe that we're worthy of success, worthy of love, worthy of respect, we will never receive that from the outside because subconsciously we don't even desire that. That is what existential kink also talks about. Look at your underlying deep down desire. It might be contrary to your conscious desire. That's where the power of shadow work lies. Because if you become aware that, oh, actually, I deep down enjoy being rejected. I deep down enjoy being miserable, although I don't consciously accept that about myself. Once you become conscious of that unconscious desire, then you can choose. Does this still serve me? Or what is that unconscious desire? Why am I getting off on that? Well, how is that serving me? How is it keeping me small? Why do I still want to be small? Am I scared? That's the kind of line of inquiry we can take. So I'm going to leave you with that. That's my little, I'm not preaching, guys, I'm sharing stuff. But since tomorrow is the full moon, super full moon in Pisces, I'm telling you, I can see that full moon. She's huge. Apparently there's not going to be another super moon until 2037, guys. I've done a little bit of research. So let's pull a card from the Moonology deck. So I'm connecting with your Asga team. You by now should know what Asga team is. If not, watch my other episodes. Connecting with your Asga team. Especially Haniel. What message do you have, Haniel, for you who's watching? Thank you so much for your guidance and support and energy. This is a good time to really release anything that is still lingering in our energetic body in terms of unprocessed emotions, because that energy doesn't go anywhere, and we cannot ascend, and ascend literally means reclaiming fragments of light. So fragments of light, pockets that are still stored in traumatic experiences or stuck emotions, need to be reintegrated to heal our astral body, our energetic body, our auric body. There you go. Let's focus. One card, please. What have you got to tell us? Ooh, okay, this one wants to come out. It's the full moon in Pisces tomorrow, guys. The card came out, full moon in Pisces. Balance, spirituality, and practicality. Again, so all what we've been talking about over the past few months, it's about not escaping ourselves into the mind and wanting to be somewhere else and disregarding the body and our 3D experience. Is becoming, embodying spirit. We are incarnate for a reason. We are here to create the world that we want to create through our thoughts, beliefs, and our actions, most importantly. How can you balance your spirituality with practicality? And it's been a big challenge for me, because I am, or used to be, that kind of person who would rather escape into the mind and intellectualize. My challenge is to be very grounded and deal with my practical chores, the garden, the car, even just what am I going to eat today? That mundane, which then becomes sacred if we no longer separate spirituality from our grounded earthly human experience. Human comes from humus, from dirt, from mud, and the lotus grows out of the mud. So this is sacred. Our human experience is sacred. And we need to balance that with being right here, right now, in the way we show up, the way we treat other people, the way we treat ourselves, the way we... How does your environment, your house, how does it reflect who you want to be? Do you need to do some clearing? Do you need to organize your life? Do you need to show up differently in respect to other people? Do you need to show up for yourself first? Do you need to honor yourself and say, put some limits on other people's behavior? Do you need to nourish yourself more? So much goes into this. So ask yourself, how can you balance your spirituality with your practicality more? Full moon in Pisces tomorrow. What else? Let's pull a card from... It's going to be a long one, but you know what? Let's go for it. You're still here, no? There we go. Okay, I'm going to pull one. What is the overarching... What does your soul... What energy does your soul want you to look at or embody, especially in this time of the full moon in Pisces? Thank you so much, dear Spirit team, dear Asta team. Thank you for channeling through us, for communicating with us, and for guiding us on this journey of ascension. Ooh, there you go. Intuition, guys. Look, she's like, well, he, she, they, she's looking into this galactic mirror. The galactic mirror is the dark womb, the void, our unconscious. Can you look inwardly? Get out of your mind as thinking and rationalizing, creating stories. Can you drop down into your body? We don't have just one mind. We have the mind of the heart. We have the mind of the gut. We have a lot of different intelligences. Can we drop down into the intelligence of our body and our inner knowing? To do that, we need to create space and silence. Intuition is connecting to the anima mundi, is connecting to a much larger intelligence and wisdom that is trying to guide us. It doesn't scream at us like the voice of the mind does. It whispers to us. It nudges us in a certain direction through feelings of openness and excitement or contraction, through messages that you pick up in the supermarket from a tea rack or a signboard or angelic numbers. But you gotta be present. You gotta be out of your mind. Be here right now and just observe and be perceptive. So intuition is heightened in this full moon in Pisces. Create some space to listen to it. And I haven't used this deck for a while. To make this a complete episode, let's do a little past, present, future. 3 cards from the Wild Unknown Animal deck, which I haven't used for a while. So what energy are you just coming out of? Thank you so much, dear Oscar team, dear Spirit team. And I'm being a bit of, I'm taking a risk because this deck is less literal, like maybe the Lightseers deck, or for me, even the Rider Waite deck. So growth lies in taking manageable risks. That's where excitement lies also. If we keep on doing the same old, in the same old way, we might feel safe, but it's a false sense of safety. It's that when the ego feels safe because it can predict what's happening. It's a habituated pattern. It's a familiar pattern. The growth lies in stepping slightly out of our comfort zone. Not into complete, oh my God, I'm freaked out and terrorized. No, that can overwhelm us. But a little bit doing things out of our routine, out of our normal way of perceiving ourselves. I like to break routines. As soon as I feel, for example, recently I turned off my phone because I realized, oh my God, I'm on that thing last thing at night and first thing in the morning. It's taking over my life. So who does Magic Mel need to be more efficient, more focused, and not in the overdrive, masculine way, but in a grounded way. And part of that action taking was, I need to reclaim my energy and my time from that bloody phone. That's just like, you start scrolling and you're like, 1 hour goes by. So what was my question was past, present, future. And there's 3 cards that came up. So why not trust that the right cards are the ones that just came out? So the energy you just came out from is the Fool. And I salute you for that, because the Fool is all about what we just talked about, taking creative risks. Saying, you know what, screw it, I'm going to start all over again. Who cares? I'm not too old. It's not too late. I have enough money. Those are all excuses our mind comes up with, regardless of your situation. We can always say, well, I'm not quite ready yet. I don't have enough money. It's not about that. It's about you finally claiming your power and saying, you know what? Screw that. I'm taking action. I'm being the fool. And other people might look at it like reckless or whatever. Who cares? This is your story. Who spends the most time with you? You. So dare to be the fool. Take it lighthearted. Well, that's what you just did. So bravo. You have been the fool. Or maybe this is still coming up for you. You're being the fool. Great. Because whenever you see this reading, it's when it's supposed to reach you. Because everything is connected and everything has a divine order. Present. 3 of Pentacles. It's about building a strong foundation. Look at that. At the center of every mountain, at the center of every empire, at the center of every kingdom, at the center of every grande oeuvre is a strong foundation, a trust in your abilities, in your intuition, in your talents to navigate the next challenge. So you're encouraged to trust that and to not get overwhelmed by the enormity of the mountain. Just take it step by step each day. Consistent, small, manageable actions every day. Yeah. Think long term. I also told myself, okay, maybe what I want to build and achieve is not achievable in 1 year. Who cares? Let's take off the pressure. Let's make it a 5-year plan. Why are you in such a rush anyway, Magic Mel? Rome was not built in a day, remember, but it was still built. So don't be impatient and be persistent, consistent, focused, prioritize, watch your space, honor your energy on your time. Magic Mel is telling you, and I'm telling myself, because you are me in a weird way. Okay, future coming up. We're coming out of illusion. We're coming out of the moon. The moon is all about deception, illusion, not seeing things clearly, mistaking the shadow for the light, mistaking the shadow for the substance. We're gaining clarity. Moon in reverse is clarity. Because you know what? Distraction, it's so easy to get distracted in this world of ours. Even if I turn off my phone, I have 1 million distractions that start spinning in my head. I pray, I ask for support from the angels to help me focus, to help me prioritize, to help me be consistent and persistent and resilient. Ask and you shall receive. We don't have to do things on our own. That's another thing I keep on telling you, you know. Don't think that you need to carry the world on your shoulders. Do your part and leave the rest up to the universe. Ask for support from the higher realms. And I mean, even in your 3D, on Friday, a friend of mine, well, a gardener is coming because, you know, I tend to tell myself I can do everything on my own. I'm like, Magic Mel, why? What do you need to prove to whom? That you're strong? We already know that. But let's delegate also and use our energy for where it serves best in our project instead of chopping huge chunks of wood and getting exhausted. Unless I need to let go of some anger. But I'm like, no, I need help in my 3D. I do. There's only so many hours in a day. There's only so much I can pragmatically and spiritually balance within 24 hours. And we're not going down the road of breakdown anymore and burnout. So what needs how much energy? It's managing and navigating everything and trusting myself that I know my own limits and trusting myself that I can ask for help when I need it. No more self-deception, no more illusions, gaining clarity, gaining oversight. So check in with your intuition. Let the proverbial dust settle. Gain some inner clarity. Trust that whatever you hear first, sometimes your intuition is just one sentence. It's nothing very dramatic and emotional. Our mind likes to spin dramatic stories. Our intuition is just factual, actually. And intuition also feels like an opening, a peaceful, deep knowing. So can you trust whatever you're feeling, whatever that first sentence that pops up in your mind, that insight? Can you trust that and go with it and write it down? Instead of listening to other people, asking for advice, outsourcing other people's opinions. They are just other people's opinions. Nobody knows you better than you. But are you willing to get to know yourself? Remember, take it lighthearted also. Nothing is that serious in the end, okay? So that's Magic Mail episode 18. Let me know what you're feeling, thinking. Comments in the comments box, guys. Please subscribe to my channel. Like, share, and subscribe. You know, if you don't like my stuff, I always think, why do people dislike stuff? You just like don't watch it, period. I'm not imposing my videos on you. If you're watching my stuff, it's because you like it. If you don't watch it. In any case, hey, if you value my my joyful contributions here, I what's the word? I appreciate your donations, your support to my channel, because we are operating outside of the matrix. So why not support each other? And stay tuned for next episode 19, coming up super soon. And I know we're finalizing season 8 on a powerful note. It's only getting better. And guess what? The best is yet to come, and we're just getting started, guys. We're just getting started. So stay tuned. Al and I got your back. Here he is, flying open. Ciao, bandidos.